Good morning. Morning, Joyce. Debbie, how are you doing this morning? We had 40 degrees here. I'm sure that you both are a lot warmer than we are. Today, we are going to look at borders. We're going to talk about the upcoming border class. It's going to start August 29th. That'll be a Thursday. We're going to be meeting from 10 to 2 Central Time. Okay. So that's 8 o'clock, 8 a.m. Pacific Time, 9 a.m. Mountain Time, 10 a.m. Central, and 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Okay. I had to remember which direction I was going in. Um, what we're going to be doing is we are going to be looking at a lot of different border treatments. And the first one I want to talk about. Good morning, Judy. You made it up. Hi, Nan. 3 p.m. in Sweden. How are you? The first thing I want to talk about is the Westerly Border Sampler Set. We've got Christina here from Sweden. We've got Jenny from the UK. Good morning, Linda and Evelyn. My goodness, we definitely are getting a whole cross section, not just of the US today, but the world. I appreciate that. Tara, good morning. How are you? Arlie is here. Oh my goodness. And Sandy is here from Tampa, Florida. So we've got New York to Florida. We've got Hi, Gail is in New Jersey. We've got the Valley of the Sun well represented from Arizona. Good morning, Janice. And Janice is just down the road. So awesome. So we're going to get started on with this class. There was a question that was posed to me. Good morning, Ruth Ellen. And the question was, even though this is a Zoom class, will the class be recorded and available? And Hilda's here from Perth, Australia. What I want to assure you is, and those of you who've taken my classes before, Donna, you're one of them. Good morning. Will know that I do record the teaching sections of the class. Jan and here. Good morning, Jan. Those then are on the university and they are yours to keep forever. Not only do I record the class, but I also do write out instructions. Well, good morning, Sarah. My daughter is here. Now she's right down the road as well. So what I like to do, hi, Di, good morning. I want to kind of give you a little sample of what my instructions look like because what I want to make sure that I help you understand is that when I teach, my goals are really very simple. There's just three of them. The first goal is to have a good time. I really think that if we're all relaxed and we're enjoying ourselves, we're going to retain it more than if we're sitting and half falling asleep in a lecture hall. I've done both. I picked my favorite and I hope it's yours. The other thing that I like us to do is to definitely learn something while you are there in class. And I like to learn by seeing, hearing, and doing. Okay, so those are the three ways we're going to learn. And the third goal is to have you feeling confident enough when you're finished with the class to be able to do it on your own. So you see, they're very simple goals, and there's a lot of ways we can reach those goals. And my goal as an instructor is to make sure that I meet your expectations and your goals. So let's just take a quick look here at instructions. I'm going to need to have some caffeine while I'm doing this. I hope you all have your coffee. So, what I do when I do my instructions, I like to make each task of the instructions into a photo with written instructions on how we're going to accomplish this. You'll see not well on this one because it's kind of far away from the camera, but I have measurements noted here, how we're going to mark, and I am going to show you a little bit of how we mark. And then we're going to talk about each individual template and how we're going to set that template on, in this case, the border, and how big it's going to be. We're going to use this stitching line disc as the foot. Now, why do I draw this out and use the stitching line disc as the foot? I'm so glad somebody out there asked. I'm sure I saw that question. The reason I do it is if I'm doing it on the machine, it's difficult to see. By doing it on a piece of paper with the stitching line disc, you have a full view of exactly what we are doing. So you'll see I go and set each step of the way. So the instructions, I think, are quite detailed. Um, I believe they work well. I've not had anyone complain about them, and we're going to do this type of instruction for each of the borders that we're going to learn. And the reason that the class is called Turn a Corner is that I'm going to show you with your border sampler template set, and that is this set here from Westerly. We have the continuous, I think this is the continuous curve. And we have the hard set in 2 sizes, and this is another continuous curve. Even though they're named the same, they're very, very different templates, very different templates. And then we have the rope with the echo. Now, I'm sure somebody's gonna say, "Well, that's only 4 templates. Why are you having a class with 5 sessions and only have 4 templates?" Well, because we're gonna throw more in. We're not gonna just do 4 templates. We're gonna do many more. And, well, Linda, I'm a mind reader. Awesome. Awesome. Um, okay, Joyce says, let's go ahead and take a look at Joyce's comment here. I've never quilted on my borders, but I watched you last week and really liked the idea. I'm going to attempt this on a table runner I just completed. Joyce, I am so happy to hear you say that. And what Joyce is referring to is this little template idea that we did last week with our Stepping Out template series. This brings me to another aspect of the class that I want to talk to you about, and that is we're going to do these 4, but I want you to learn how to use many of your other templates to do borders, okay? We can use a lot of different templates to do borders, and I think sometimes we don't appreciate all the different designs that we can make with our templates because we have beautifully written instructions in the template package, but um, they're not geared to using in other ways, okay? Spin effects, um, you can use as a border. I've done that. I've used several different spin effects as borders. And you can use Here we used our stepping out templates as borders. One of the things that I find really fun, and this is one we're going to learn in class, this particular border here is 2 templates. It's a 12-inch arc and a little tiny 1/4-inch circle. So you don't have to even have a whole lot of different templates. We can make a lot of awesome designs with just straight lines. We're gonna learn more about that next week too as we do parabolic curves. That sorry, I have to apologize. I had to push that off for a week because I wanted you to see this. Another template design or another border design, I'm sorry, that we're gonna use is using our, clamshell templates and a 12-inch arc. You can put as few or as many of the little swags in. You can template it or not. It's entirely up to you. The top one looks like this when it is not template. Personally, I love the template look. I love doing it. I get into, I don't wanna call it a rut because a rut sounds like a bad thing, and it's really not, but I'll go crazy templating everything that I do for a time, and then I say, "Okay, it's time to change it up." The other thing we can do, we can use our Derwent Inktense pencils in a lot of these. So we're gonna show you that as well. Now this whoopsie, sorry about that. This is extremely easy to do. It's just a wave ruler and the fill designs from Donnell McAdams. Again, template. Here I used 3 different fabrics. I used the top fabric and 2 template fabrics in an attempt to make it look kind of like a ribbon going back and forth. Um, I I gotta tell you guys straight up, I'm not ashamed to tell you I did not pick a really great fabric combination for this. I think we could have done a lot better. That I could have done a lot better. But these are some of the designs that we're going to look at. Not every border works well turning a corner. And quite honestly, some of these are not going to turn a corner well, but that's okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you how to put this from corner to corner and then use a cornerstone design in it to make that turn and keep the cohesiveness of the border together. Di says, "I love this border. Will it be in the class?" Di, I am not sure I caught which one you're talking about. However, these 3 borders will be in the class, okay? Along with these 4. And I wanna throw this back in there, okay? I wanna throw this back in there because we can use our mini spin effects, we can use our 4-inch arc, we can use a whole lot of different templates to come up with a very organic design, and I wanna make sure you know how you can turn that design and work with the templates that you have. So, yes, to answer your question, those will be yes, Donna, all of that I'm showing you this morning is going to be part of the class. Good morning, Kathy from Texas. Okay, we should all probably pay like, Di has a really, really good point here. Bev, I didn't see you sneak, and good morning, and Rama, my friend, good morning to you. Kathy made it. I hope to get stitching too, Kathy. I've got quite a bit of projects I need to do. Lois is here from Delaware. Oh, Joyce has the sampler templates. I'm so glad. Okay. So Di says we should all probably play more on paper with our templates and stitching line discs. And the reason I really love that comment, Di, is that this is going to be one of those things that we're going to talk about and we're going to do in class. So I want everybody to make sure that they have stitching line discs. I guess I take for granted that everyone has them. San Antonio, Texas. Susie just entered the room. Good morning, Susie. So, yes, the reason I like doing the stitch outs, and I've got some sitting here off to the side. Not a lot, just a couple of them, I think. Yeah, I certainly do. And here they are. And this literally is how I come up with how I'm going to accomplish what I'm going to accomplish. Okay? Now, there's another reason that I feel it's important for us to do this on paper is because, for example, and let me pull out one of these templates. And I always end up pulling out my favorite one. Don't ask why, but that's just the way we are, I think. I don't have any favorite children, but I do. Just kidding, Sarah, just kidding. Brenda, good morning from Mississippi. Rama, you're in the US. Oh, awesome. Awesome. So happy you've made it here. So, what I was going to say is this particular template right here is the continuous border loop, 2 inches wide, 3 inches tall. Okay. It's going to fit perfectly if our length of of our border is divisible by 2. Quite honestly, though, most of us don't have quilts that are exactly divisible by 2 or by 3 or by whatever size of template we're using. Okay. So, what we're going to do after we say good morning to Brenda from Mississippi and Rita from Northern Colorado is I am going to take you through a little bit of a journey on how to fudge these designs just a little bit so that they end up fitting perfectly into the width of your border, even if they're not divisible by 2. Sometimes we use a half of a design. So what you're going to notice here, and it's hard to see because it is pencil, is here is where I just use a half a design, okay? And then what I've done here is I have made this measurement from the widest part to the widest part 1 7/8 inches. And here I've wanted to show you how to stretch it out a little bit without interrupting the integrity of the design. And we've gone here from 1 7/8 to this one at 2 1/8. So we are going to cover that. Okay. Oh, Joyce, so glad that you're going to be doing this. And Linda, you are absolutely right. The drawings are a great resource for future projects. What I do with my drawings, for example, with these drawings, these are all drawings of the Border Sampler template set. I have a file folder for each of my sets of templates. I put these drawings right into the file folder with the template sets. So I'm never losing them because anybody who knows me well knows that I forget things, okay? It's a combination of age and other things that we won't go into, but I do forget where I put things. So, when you stay very organized and you keep everything together, and you can even fold these up and put them right into the bag with them, or if you need a bigger bag, get some big gallon Ziploc bags, put them in there. It works just fine. Um, we just will know that those references are always there, and by putting the dimensions in, I find that it helps me in the future not have to do all the math over again. I don't know. Oh, Donna asked, "Good morning, Sylvia. I'm sorry I didn't see you sneak in this morning." Mm, Donna asked, "What do you draw on? What kind of paper?" Well, there's a few different things that I use. So Steady does have a pad of paper that has a grid on it that's already lined for us, which is very handy. And we can purchase that from So Steady. The other thing I like to use is the back of the release paper from our Temply Fuse. And that is just a really nice size most times. It works very well. The other thing that I like to use, and this is one of them, is, this is kind of a hard one to say, guys. I gotta be honest with you. This is a pad of newsprint that my mom had, when she was still with us, that she used for sketching out her designs. She was an artist, and so I find that I am using up that paper, and I find that works well too. I have some gals use moving newsprint that they pick up at a big box store. It comes in sheets. You can even use typing paper, although for this class, it might be just a little bit small. I guess I really just aged myself by saying typing paper. I should have said copy paper or printer paper, actually. Copy paper is a thing of the past too, isn't it? So, those are options. Those are all options to what we want to use. I like the paper that's a little lighter weight. Good morning, Margaret from Melbourne, Australia. And Kathy is here from Bliss, Michigan, another Michigander. Yay. Okay, now Debbie says she uses recycled packing paper from her Amazon packages. Linda, I remember running a mimeograph machine. Oh my goodness. Now we're dating ourselves when we say that. Oh, remember the smell? I still can smell that smell. Okay, Donna says she uses sketch pads from the Dollar Tree for smaller designs. And she also reuses the paper that stores use to wrap fragile items. She irons out the wrinkles. That's great. And you know what? It is great. And that brings me to something else. Um, when I do my designs, when I'm drawing out my designs, I'm using 3 different types of marking implements. Okay. I am using a really sharp Sharpie. I am using a gel pen, and I am using a pencil, and I got a big eraser because I make a lot of mistakes. Okay. Um, the reason that I use these, okay, is because I use the Sharpie from where my fabric is. Okay, for example, this is going to be a 4-inch border. but we're only gonna use 3 inches of it. So I'm taking my gel pen and I'm cutting that down to the 3 inches we're going to use. Then I use my pencil to actually draw in the designs. The reason I use the pencil is it's easily erased for when I make mistakes. Now you'll notice I did not say if I made mistakes, it's when I make mistakes. We all do. It's okay. It's fine. Everything's fixable except a broken heart, right? So, what happens when I get done with this and Donna knows you can iron paper without any problem. I'll use a low heat and I will go ahead and take off the friction pen lines to get a really good idea of what my design's going to look like exactly when it hits my fabric. Okay. Now I've been putting off talking about something that really is going to be a very important part of this class. Yeah, oh, Ruth Ellen says, let's take a look at Ruth Ellen. I press packing paper I receive in packages, and also the paper that comes in warm and white, which is only 12 inches wide. And she also used the backs of junk mail. That's a great use of junk mail as far as I'm concerned. Okay. Jan says she has a roll of white paper 75 feet long from Hobby Lobby, and it was real cheap. You know, that's another thing. We don't need to spend a ton of money on our paper because it's just that, it's paper. So we want to have paper that's a good enough size to use, and you'll notice here, um, I've used this for 3 different designs. Here's one here, one here, one here. And you don't have to. If you don't have paper that's quite as large as this, you can use a smaller size and just use one piece for each of the different designs. Then asked Jen, how wide is that roll of paper? That's a really good question. Another Jan is here from hot Midlothian, Texas. Good morning, Jan. I hope you have air conditioning. Okay, so this is going to bring me to the dreaded M question. And I know that it's a dreaded question because whenever I say in a class, okay, let me explain the math of it, almost everybody simultaneously goes, oh, okay, Jan, it's 18 inches wide, which is a really good width because these squares that I'm working on are 18-inch squares. So 18 inches is a great size. And this particular one you're looking at, I actually have 3 different designs that I worked on. Good morning, Patsy from New Mexico. Um, I gotta tell you guys, I'm just gonna squirrel here for a second and let you know how wonderful it makes me feel to see you guys here on Tuesday night and again on Wednesday morning. I know not everybody can make every broadcast, but you guys have really become my friends, and I enjoy seeing you here. So I just want you to know that, okay? Am I gonna give Brenda wants to know, am I gonna give the details of the class? When, where, what we need, and the cost? Brenda, absolutely, I'm going to do that. I've been telling you a little bit about what the class is about. The class, is going to be 5 sessions, and it's going to meet from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. Central Time, 8 a.m. Pacific, 9 a.m. Mountain, 10 a.m. Central, and 11 a.m. Eastern Time. It's going to last for 4 hours. Um, I will try to remember to take a break from for lunch. Most everybody who's taken my classes before knows I just have a bad habit of forgetting to eat. And the, supply list is already on the university. The class is listed on the university, and the cost is $80 for the 5 sessions. And we're going to cover more because it's kinda hard other than for sure, I want you to have the border sampler template set because this is the set that we're going to learn first. It's the simplest. It gives us the most education for the math part of it. And this is going to be our jumping board for everyone. And Brenda, the classes are recorded, yes, and they are yours for life. Once you pay for them and you have them, they are yours. I like recordings so that you can go back at any time. When I do recordings, and girls from other classes, from my previous classes can kind of tell you about this. I like to keep the recordings relatively short. What I mean by that is 20 to 30 minutes, so that it's much easier to find a particular section of the class than to have to sit and go through 2 hours of video to find the answer to one question. I don't ever want you to, have to do that if possible. So I do a lot of shorter recordings. I do a lot of them. And when we're done with class, I immediately upload the recordings. I try, but sometimes it could take me up to 24 hours to get them into the university class. And, they will be categorized by class date. So I would have August 29th, we'll have video 1, video 2, video 3, video 4, etc. And I have found through trial and error that that is the best way to organize the files. The other thing you will always have is photos to refer back to, the photos in the instructions. I do produce paper instructions for what we are learning. I think that's extremely important because not everyone learns by sitting and watching a video and listening to me talk. So you will have those instructions. And again, here is a sample of the instructions. And I like to use a lot of visuals in the instructions. So we use the stitching line disc to represent our foot, and I will show you each step. Each time we stitch a portion of that design, I will take a photo, and these are photos. These aren't artist renditions, okay? These are definitely photos, and we'll talk about that. So, Brenda, okay, yes, okay, I think I answered that. Yes, we are recorded. Will your class be available if I can't watch live? Patricia, good morning from Minnesota. Yes, it will be. It will be. Susie, good morning. And Donna, would we be stitching along in the class? Yes, Donna, we are going to be stitching in the class. The other thing that I want you to know is that I also make myself very available to my students. Phone, text, email, or through my website. Um, I also have a YouTube channel that I keep these classes on. They're set up through So Steady, but they are also on my YouTube channel and my Facebook, as well as Soul Studies channel and their Facebook, and we do keep those on. Okay. Mary, good morning. I hope it wasn't as cold up there as it is down here this morning. Um, so I think, does that answer the questions, Brenda, that you had? I want to make sure that I have all the answers. Don't leave you wondering about things. I do make my phone number available. And if I don't answer it, it's probably because I'm not near it, and I will call you back. Okay, just so you're aware of that. So, I hope that this gives you kind of a real clear understanding of what this class is going to be. I'm really excited about it. And I think the reason I'm very excited about it is because I'm going to help you to learn to design your own borders as well as just copy the borders that I show you. Okay. Oh, Brenda, you're quite welcome. I'm glad that we were able to do that. So, along with the border set, I would like to say that your starter set, of course, I guess I make an assumption here, and I probably shouldn't do that. But does everybody have a sampler starter set? It is. Yes, Jan, the written instructions will be available before each class. Yes. Um, the starter sampler set we will be using as well. As I mentioned when I was showing this particular border sample here, is that this is done simply with a 12-inch arc and a 1/4-inch circle. And I know how people don't really care for the 1/4-inch circle because it's small, and I've heard a lot of students say they find it difficult to stitch. Hopefully, we can get you over that. But if not, you don't have to put that circle in there if you don't want to. You can template it or not, right? So there's a lot of leeway that I want you to feel that you have working these designs. And a lot of that leeway will include using the discs or using the templates that you already have. Di says that's the one she wants. Yeah, it's really easy, Di. I was just surprised. I was just fiddling one day, and that's what came out of my head. It does, Donna, yes. Donna said it does, make it look more interesting, and it draws your eye to the circle, and yes, that it absolutely does. So, we have so many things available to us. And my philosophy is let's use our tools to their utmost ability. And we sometimes don't always do that. So anyway, I do want to do a little bit of a stitch out here for you this morning. And we're going to take the continuous border loop. And this loop has the greatest markings on it. I love these markings. We have a vertical center line, a horizontal center line. We have the etched lines for our previous stitches going in either direction. And what's nice about this template is if you want to start on the right, go to the left, you can. If you want to start on the left, go to the right. It is so easy to use this template, guys. It really is. And it goes in every direction you want. And the nice thing about this one, I already worked the math out, okay? So what I found, and let's go ahead and take a little look here at the drawn out. And this is how I draw them out and keep them. I did a lot of erasing before I got to this point. I'm gonna be honest with you. These measurements don't just pop into my head randomly and turn out to be correct, okay? I'm wrong a lot of the time, and that's why I have this big eraser instead of a bunch of little ones, okay? One of the other erasers, I'm gonna be honest, I do not like the erasers that are on the end of the number 2 Ticonderoga pencils. They smear. I'll use a big white eraser as well. And, mom had a few of these, and I'm still using them. So they do last quite a while and they do stay soft, which really is good. If it doesn't, you can just kind of whittle off the end a little bit if it starts smearing. I just take my fingers and do this. Then, of course, I have to wash my hands after, but that's okay. And then it gives me a nice clean area to work with. So in working with the borders, I do like to put a miter corner in. I do miter my corners on my borders as a rule. If it's a baby quilt, maybe not so much, but if it's a quilt that's going to be, loved for a long time, I will. Linda, no, this actually is not a gum eraser. Gum erasers are erasers that are used by artists. They're usually gray in color, and you can actually kind of mold them with the heat of your hand. This is just a white eraser. I don't know if there's a special name for it, to be honest with you. So, you can buy these at any big box store. And right now is a great time to get these things because they've got all the school supplies out. They come normally covered in cellophane, and I leave them in cellophane until I actually start using it. So it stays soft, okay? Jeannie's here from Mount Vernon, Washington. Good morning, Jane. Brenda said, "Is there any prior experience needed for this class? I've never used these templates." Brenda, yes and no, okay? Now that may sound like a non-answer to you, but, um, we will be doing the border templates, and we will be learning them. So, no, there is no prior experience necessary for those. When we start getting to the real fancy ones, you can do those. It just may take you a little extra time, and it may take you drawing it out once or twice more, okay? But I know you can do this. Have you used templates in the past, Brenda? You just have not used these templates. Am I correct in assuming that? Because that can mean a lot too. If you've got template experience, the process of using our templates is the same on every template. We're just going in different directions. Okay, does that make sense? Little things like we want to ride the edge of the template. We don't want to push our foot against the template or push our template against the foot. We want to stay nice and even, and you won't want, so that you start working on stitch integrity. Brenda, you've never used any templates before. You know what? I think I would advise you to take a beginner template class first, likely, because there's a lot of there's a lot of educations or a lot of nuances to working with templates if you've never used them before. Not saying that you cannot take the class because you certainly can and you will gain something from it. I just don't want you being frustrated. Now, if you go to sosteady.com, Brenda, and go into their education page and go into the university, Donnell McAdams has a wonderful set of videos that are free that will help you get started with template quilting. And you can use that class in tandem with what we're doing if you feel as though you're ready to. What I don't want to do is I don't want to frustrate you with the more advanced designs, okay? So just know that that's, that's where I'm at. And Brenda, if you go under the instructor page, um I'm sorry, Deb, I'm gonna bring that to light. If you go to the instructor page and, look down at all of the instructors there, what you'll see is, I'm sorry, if you go to the university and look at all the instructors, you'll see that we all have a great number of classes that are free and very reasonably priced. Yes, Jan says, "Brenda, yes, take Donnell McAdams beginner classes for template quilting." They are excellent. They are excellent. Now, with that said too, I always want to tell you, um, not all instructors teach exactly the same methods, and that's okay. Because what you can do is you can take the method that works best for you and use it. Just because I do something a certain way does not mean that it's the right or the wrong way. It's just my way. And if you find a way that works better for you, I am perfectly okay with that. Okay, just so you know. Joyce took the beginners classes. She said they're great. Brenda, you are quite welcome. I do want to be honest with you. I don't want anyone to ever come into my classes and get frustrated and give up on it. Debbie, that's so nice of you. She said she is totally a rookie, which I kind of question. But she says, Debbie Poole says, we do have a blast in Kathy's Zoom classes, which we do. And we all learn together. And she has never felt frustrated in one of my classes. Well, thank you, Debbie. I'm glad to hear that. That kind of feedback is really important to me. It's important to all of this. Deb Watkins says, and this is really important. So this I want to share with you because this is how I hope everyone feels when they're leaving my class. Deb says, I teach beginning ruler work class at my local quilt store, which is awesome, Deb. I'm so glad to hear that. It gives me such joy to see the gals come in terrified and leave chatting with joy. And you know what? That's the sign of any good teacher, Deb. Any good teacher is going to want to do that. I had to get a little bit of caffeine there. Jan says, are the Zoom classes live? Jan, yes, they are. They also are recorded so that you can watch them afterwards. Well, Christina, thank you so much. She says Kathy is a great teacher. Well, I don't know if I'm great. It's just what I love to do. I absolutely love teaching template and ruler quilting. I love designing it and I love teaching it. But the reason mostly that I love teaching it is because I have the best students in the world. And I could say that honestly, not just in the US, but in the whole world. So it makes it very easy. Okay, so When do they begin? Jan asks. We are going to begin August 29th, and we are going to be meeting from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Central Time. Donna said, live or recorded? Both. Donna, we are going to do the live Zoom class, and I will be recording the instruction portions of it, and we will have them available. Yeah, yeah. No, you don't have to comb your hair or get out of your PJs, Donna. Definitely not. I'll share a little secret with you guys. Last week, um, I had, my pajamas on while I was doing my class here. Oh, Christina had a great time in my class in January. Thank you, Christina. Is it every day? Oh, thanks for asking, Jen. Actually, no, it is 5 sessions that will be held alternating Thursdays. Okay? So that means we're gonna start on August 29th. Let me get my calendar out here. We're going to meet September 12th and September 26th, and then we're going to meet again on October 10, and October 24th will be our last class. Now, with that in mind, normally I will leave, and I know Jan is gonna laugh at this. I normally leave the following week available so that I can kind of regroup from a class and, do nothing, which doesn't mean I do nothing. Jan found that out. So, if we need to go another session longer, I like to leave that on the table. Basically, if we are doing well and we have something that we want to cover, maybe wasn't addressed in the initial class offering, I don't want to leave you guys feeling unfinished, if that makes a lot of sense. If you want to go further, we can do that, and I'm fine with that. Okay. Debbie Debbie says that she is a night owl. So 8 a.m. for her is way too early, but well worth getting out of bed for. And Debbie, you are right. We have such a good time. I just love this. I love this method of teaching. I love the fact we don't have to haul stuff, taking our sewing machines out. I live in the Great White North. Most people who don't know where I live think I'm from Canada because they say I've got a Canadian accent. I actually am from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan on the Great Lakes. And in the winter, it's hard for us to get out and about. So I just kind of like to do the Zoom classes. I think they're a great way to interact in real time and to have our recorded classes for posterity or review, I should say. We will have our written instructions that we can keep with us. And if you lose them, don't worry. You can always go back and print them out again. I put them into PDF format for you. And are we going to make a sampler quilt using the binding templates? Um, you mean the border templates, Kathy? I think that's what you're asking. You know what? I had not planned on that, but you certainly can if you want. Um, because of turning the corners, it might be a little difficult, but let me kind of try and figure it out, Kathy, and see what I can come up with. Donna says she went on a great golf trip up there. It was gorgeous. She stayed in Traverse City Lake area. Donna, it is gorgeous in Traverse City, but that's not anywhere close to where I live, darling. That is what's called the Lower Peninsula. If you've ever heard of the Mackinac Bridge, we are on the north end of the Mackinac Bridge. Michigan is two peninsulas. One looks like a mitten. We are not in the mitten. Okay, we are in the Upper Peninsula, and it's a different way of life up here. We have 3% of the state's population, 30% of the state's land. And we are very rural, and we are renegades. We actually are in the Central Time Zone, even though the rest of the state is in the Eastern Time Zone. So, yeah, you'll find out we're pretty protective of our Upper Peninsula. They call us Yoopers, right, Judy P? Um, it's just a different way of life here. And Donna, I know you were in Michigan, so Michigan counts for you. It really does, definitely. I just, you're gonna find that we definitely are very protective. Okay, so we do at least grow cherries up here. Quite honestly, Donna, no, we don't. I'm afraid not. We grow beauty up here. That's what we grow. Yeah, Laura's been to Mackinac Island, and it is gorgeous there too. If you're going to visit Michigan, that's the place to go. And Traverse City, Donna, it's a beautiful, beautiful city. It really is. It's an awesome place to visit. So anyway, Dan loves the Upper Peninsula too. So back to what we were talking about here, and what I was going to do is going to just kind of give you a brief overview to stitch out, and we're going to stitch out the continuous border loop. And I've already gone ahead and drawn out how I am going to mark my quilt squares or my samples, which I decided after a little bit of thinking it through, I think we should do fat quarters for samples because it gives us enough turning room. So to turn with this particular template, what I found I needed to do, and these numbers and everything will be available to you, is I needed to come out 1/4 of an inch from this point, okay? And these are the points where my 4-inch border seam line connects. So I'm going to grab my ruler here, and I am going to mark my 1/4 inch on this side and on this side. Make sure I've got it as a 1/4 inch, not a 1/2 inch. Okay, a great way to know if you are making this measurement the same is you're going to have a little square here. Okay? If this little mark is not square, then one of these two markings is off. So you'll want to look at that and do it again. Now, the reason that I made such a fuss about um, this vertical center line is because, you know what? I forgot to make one more mark here, guys. I'm going to come down a 1/2 an inch too. And we're just going to do it quickly here. There we go. And a 1/2 an inch. We're going to put our 1/4 inch in here and 1/4 inch in here. And what we're going to do is this is where we're going to have our needle. So we're going to line this up using the diagonal center line and our spacing gauge, and we will move this up and down so that we have a 1/4 inch measurement on both sides. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stitch all the way around. Pull my thread up here. Make sure you can see okay. Well, come on. There we go. Remember, when we're stitching on curves, what we want to do is we want to make sure that we're shortening that stitch length just a little bit. I'm going to take that one stitch in place, and I'm going to come down, and I'm going to come back up. I wobbled a little bit, but that's okay. And I'm going to stop right at that line. Okay, now I'm going to turn and I'm going to line up my template. I'm lining up. Okay, where did it go? There it is. I'm lining up this particular line here. That's going to be where my stitches are going to be formed. So I'm lining that up with my 1/2 inch line that I made there. And we're going to make one rotation. Okay, now all we have to do is move our template over. Our previously stitched line is going to fall right underneath this edged line. And that means we're going to have a perfect rotation. Isn't that awesome? So we're going to come out this way, come down to the bottom, take that extra stitch down here to make sure that that point is very clean and pointy. And we're going to come up. And now we're just going to continue. Every time we come down and line up, we know that we are perfectly spaced. Okay, and I'm going to stop right there. I just wanted to give you kind of a little idea. Now on the other side, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start here just like I did here, and I'm going to stitch in this direction. Okay? Just makes life easier. There are a few breaks, thread breaks, but that's okay. We can handle that, right? So that is what I've got for you this morning. Oh, Aura, you lived in Detroit. Okay. Okay. Yeah, Detroit is about 8.5 hours away from us. Yeah. We're basically on opposite ends of the state. Michigan is a very large state, very large. So anyway, this kind of will give you an idea of where we are going with this class. And I certainly hope that you will consider taking it. I do have limited enrollment in the class. When I do a live class, I think it helps to keep our group to a smaller size. Joyce, you are very welcome. Okay, will all the borders be made in a 4-inch border? Not necessarily, Ruth Ellen. What I want to do is I want to show you how you can reduce and enlarge them as well, because not all borders are 4-inch. And we also will want to take a look at sashing, which is usually much smaller. So we will be looking at different sizes, Ruth, yes. Diane, you are very welcome, and I hope to see you in class. Does anybody have any questions for me? Patsy, thank you. Okay, if not, we will see you next week. We will see you Tuesday evening, and we will see you again Wednesday morning. Wednesday morning, we're going to look at parabolic curves. And I'm thinking Tuesday evening we're going to as well. And I think what we're going to do with our parabolic curves is we're going to start it Tuesday evening and go ahead and continue it through Wednesday morning because there is so much with them. And it's so easy to do. It's all straight lines. You're welcome, Linda. And Linda, you have a great week too. Okay. I appreciate you being here, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and until we meet again, let's quilt.